please tell me about yourself.
Sure. So I'm Utyok Kaur. I have 11 years of experience, primarily as a Java backend developer. In my most previous role at Wells Fargo, I was a lead software engineer, and I was leading a team of five, a Scrum team. So we were primarily working on mortgage banking applications, more specifically a personalized experience platform we were building based on microservices, Spring Boot, um, Kafka, MongoDB, and Redis. So
Okay.
that's basically what I've been working on.
So Java version, which Java version are you using right now?
Right. So when the implementation was being built, it was Java 11. We recently upgraded to Java 17.
Okay. 17, right?
17, yes.
So you know difference between JDK and JRE?
Right. JRE is the runtime environment. It just has the base requirements to execute a JVM. It doesn't include all of the tools, the SDK, and all of the other related
Okay.
binaries to build a Java
So
application.
you know about the class loader. Can you give the
Yes.
example about the two uh, executable file name who is work on as a class loader?
Class loader, right?
Yeah.
So there are essentially three levels of the class loader. So one is the bootstrap class loader that essentially loads the JDK internal classes and other the core uh, libraries. And then is the extension class loader. So all of the the extensions and the extended core
Okay,
Java
okay,
library.
okay, great, great. So suppose you know about the method name public static void main, right?
Right.
So this method, suppose I am just some changes I want to do on that. Public static void main string argument. Okay, everything is same. I just take up the static we write in front, means static public void main. So in that scenario, program will successfully execute or not.
No, it will not because as per the Java conventions, the method signature has to start with the um,
Public.
it has to have access modifier, and then it has to have the the specification, and then the return type. You can't have that prior to that.
So I think no have a specific rule for order of specifier, because of if you have written the public, and public already you written, but you just changing the order. So in that
So
scenario, you have a tool like that, Eclipse or IntelliJ, whatever you have right now.
yes, I have. So are you saying that we write the static first and then the public? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Let me. Do you want me to share my screen?
Yeah, please tell.
Okay. Let me share my screen.
Okay.
Let me know when you can see my screen.
Yes, yes, yes. Here you can change the order.
Okay.
Write public static public void. This is working now. You write something here, system out dot println, it will print.
Yeah, yeah. I think it works. There is no
No,
mandate.
no issue, right? That's why I'm
Yeah.
asking you, telling no. Because of order, it doesn't matter. You can write void before static. Can you change one more order?
Okay.
Void you can put against the static. Uh, 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 yeah, yeah. So here you got any error?
Yeah. Modify static is not allowed here.
Okay. But public and static can be modified, right?
Yeah, they can be interchanged. Yes.
Okay. So I have asked only the static you can change, you can write first, public you can write second. Void basically it is associated with the function name, method name.
Method.
So
Right.
that's why
Unity.
it cannot be changed.
Right.
So here have logic. So next question I want
Hmm.
to ask. So you know about this, you know constructor, right?
Yes.
So suppose I want to uh, write constructor anyway in just like as a public string, the class name, that type of constructor we can write. Can you? Yeah.
Yeah. Could you go ahead?
First, you what I am asking actually, I
Hmm.
want to write. Suppose you constructor write, for example, you are writing constructor private public, right? This
Okay.
keyword you can use. So
Okay.
just give the one example. Class A, okay,
Okay.
and public constructor, okay,
Okay.
public A,
Hmm.
curly braces, open and close. Now I want to this public A, just I want to change public string A. So what happens? This would be called as a constructor or it would be called as a method.
Method, because constructors don't have a return type.
Okay, 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 great. You know about the deep cloning and silo cloning?
Yeah. Deep copy. Shallow copy. Yes, I do know.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, please tell.
Sure. So, cloning is essentially when you're trying to create a copy of a object in an efficient way. So, if a class implements the clonable interface, you can sort of implement the clone method where you can sort of write how you want that class to be able to support uh, cloning. Now, in a shallow cloning or shadow copy, what's going to happen is the base members of the class will get, copied over. I mean, the values and the references of those would get uh, copied over in the new instance of the object. But in deep copy, what happens is if there is any hierarchical objects that are members of that class, all those also, I mean, would contain the same values as the original uh,
Okay,
object.
okay, okay, no problem. So, have a one more question in the basic Java programming. Can you implement pointer in Java program? If not, so why? Yes, so how?
So technically, you cannot implement a pointer in the true sense. We
Yeah,
do have references in Java, but those are specific to a particular type, right? Either
Oh,
there has to be some hierarchical uh,
okay, okay, great, great,
relationship or something
great,
like
great,
that. But
great, great. I understand about that because of uh, the references are handled by the Java memory allocation, right? So,
right,
so internally JVM will manage it.
yeah,
So, can we make it any final method can be overload?
final method can be
Suppose
overloaded.
you write public final void display. So this method can be overload.
Overloading, you're saying, right?
Yes,
Not
yes, yes. Overloading. Yeah.
they can be overloaded because you're essentially giving a different signature of the method, so they can be overloaded in that sense. Because you can have a different method with the same name with different
Okay,
uh,
okay, okay,
signature.
okay. So can we overwrite?
No.
No. Okay. So main method can be declared without static keyword.
You can declare a method with the name main, I think, without the static keyword, but that will not be an entry point for the Java.
Okay,
Uh,
okay,
application.
okay. Great, great. So what type of variables in Java?
could you repeat that? What type of? I didn't get that word.
Variable declared in Java class. How many
Variable.
types
Okay.
of variable declared in Java class? You know?
Right. So there are two types essentially. There are primitive variables, and then there are object level variables. Are you talking about within a class or in general?
Yeah, in class, variable basically static variable, instance variable, and local variable. I am
Right. Right.
asking about this.
Sure. So yeah, so instance variable are essentially members of the the class, and they have a specific value when an instance of that when a object instance of that class is created. Static variables can also be there within the class, but the values of that are specific to the class itself. It's not specific to an
So one more question.
yeah.
Suppose you have two choice, okay?
Okay.
String or buffer string. So which should be preferred first?
Okay. So it entirely depends on the use case of what that is being used for. If you're just
So use
creating,
cases have already. Suppose use cases you want to use, uh, you have variable like that you want to add or concatenate whatever you want to like that to basically use. So,
okay,
but choice is have choice means performance perspective. I am asking you have string or buffer string.
okay.
So, so how do you prefer which one is best if I apply to string or string buffer?
Okay. So when you are changing string objects often, and you're sort of trying to do multiple concatenation uh, operations, that is not efficient, because it will create new entry in the string pool always, and it has to uh, refresh it from there. So if there are a lot of string modification options that are being done, then string buffer is always preferred over string. And also string buffer supports thread safety. So if you're using it in a multi-threaded environment, then string buffer is preferred to be used. If that is not a requirement, then string builder can be used as an alternative. It will perform a little
So,
better.
okay, great. So, can we write try block without catch block if you're writing any code, or mandatory catch block?
You can write try block with a finally block.
Okay, 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 great. So, suppose you are using linked list
Okay.
and array list. Okay.
Okay.
So, which scenario can we use linked list, and which scenario can we use array list?
Okay. So, since the underlying implementation of ArrayList is based on arrays, which have contiguous memory allocation, and it automatically resizes with the array copy, right? So, in that sense, if there is something where there needs to be operations where we are um, trying to fetch something by an index, specific index,
Okay.
or there using a array list is preferred because it will be more quick. You can directly fetch by index. But if you are using linked list, if you are maintaining something like where you just need to um, you know retrieve entries either at the end or the beginning of the list, or sort of maintain a hierarchy, there it makes sense. But if you're trying to iterate through it or find a specific entry, then it's much slower than uh,
Okay, 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 okay. Can you stop the sharing of this screen?
sure. One second.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what is difference between hash set and tree set?
Has set and reset.
Yeah.
Okay. So hash set, doesn't have any underlying order.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, it just stores keys and values, whereas a tree set, maintains the order irrespective of new items being added or removed uh, from the set. It sort of maintains it using a red-black tree in the backend implementation.
Mm-hmm. So, in collection, okay,
Mm.
in collection, I have asked. So, next question. You know the tree map.
Yeah.
So, tree map and hash map, internal implementation are different or same?
It is more or less the same. The tree set is essentially a tree map itself, but it does not have any values. It just has the keys. So it is the same internal implementation. It's just used. I mean, one functionality of the tree map is not used in the tree set, but the structure inside is the same.
Any other differences?
Um,
Tree set is sorted or unsorted?
both
No, no,
tree
no.
set
I'm
and
sorry, sorry. I'm talking about the tree set. I'm talking about the tree map. So tree map is a sorted or unsorted.
sorted. It has a order and it is also sorted.
So tree map can take key as a null value, null or not.
Yes, it can take a key as a null, but only one because the keys have to be unique.
Null can take.
Yes.
So suppose you want to add in tree set two value, um, null and ABC, okay,
Okay.
as a key,
Yes.
and and value have 1 and 2. So what output you will get?
You will have a map which has, a key with null,
Hmm.
and it will have one more entry as a key. I mean, I assume 1 2 3 is either a integer or a string, whichever it is. It will have that key as an entry,
Hmm.
and whatever value you have put for each of those keys, it will have that
So
in the tree.
it will give the exception or not?
No,
No. Can you share your screen?
sure.
Here you write tree map.
Okay.
Write tree map is equal to true map. Tree map. Right. Okay. Here you can write as a string. First you
Okay.
take string, second you take integer.
Okay.
Integer and map is equal to tree new tree map. Okay. Here you add put map dot put
Okay.
map dot put. First you put key as a null,
Okay.
null and 1,
Okay.
and second you put abc as a string,
Okay.
and value you put 2.
Okay.
Just you write the SOP system out dot println map.
Okay.
When you run it, what you got?
I'm trying to see null pointer exception. Yes.
You got null pointer.
Yes. Because it's trying to run the comparable on this to
Why
do the
why
select.
I tell you, because of you are telling not give the null pointer.
Correct.
That's why
Yes.
I told you write the program. So why null pointer exception is coming? Just to give the scenario.
Yeah. So I think it is trying to, when it is doing the sorting, it is trying to use the comparable
Hmm.
on the object, but because this is null, it is not able to run the compare to method on
Okay.
this
Okay.
object as a string.
So you got answer.
Yes.
You never tell anyone it will give the null and ABC, because of key always, because of have sorting concept has applied inside the key. Okay.
Right.
So one key have null, another key have real. Null means this is the discarded object. Discarded object never will comparable.
Right.
If you trying to compare, give the null pointer.
Right.
But compile would be worse, because
Hmm.
of it will allow at least one null.
Correct.
Okay. So almost I have done from the core Java side.
Okay.
So I will ask you regarding uh, uh, Spring and Spring Boot. Okay.
Okay.
So why we are using Spring Boot instead of Spring Framework?
So Spring Boot is actually built on top of Spring framework. It provides a lot of additional pre-built um, functionalities in terms of, they're all built as sort of starter packages where you can include those and have those easily configurable implementations. For example, if you want to interact via messaging, or if you want to build a API, if you want to make web, I mean API calls. Are a lot of packages that can easily integrate with each other and work in a single configuration standpoint. So it is easier to sort of it reduces the time that is required to build things from scratch. So that's where Spring Boot helps.
Hello?
Am I still audible?
No. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, please. So you can stop your sharing screen.
Okay.
Yeah. So I will ask you, what Spring Boot feature help develop the microservices application? Can you give the answer about that?
Yeah, so I think there are two that at least I have used. One is you're able to build API, so you can include Spring Boot Starter Web, which includes the ability to build REST controllers, and with that you can sort of build an API easily. The other one that I've used is for a Kafka-based event interaction. So Spring Cloud Stream is something that I've used. So both primary methods of microservices communication, Spring Boot does support within
Okay,
it.
okay. So what are the key dependency of Spring Boot? Can you give at least two, three, four, five, whatever you know?
Yeah. So at least for Spring Boot, web, that is one of them, and then there is Spring Data. There is, at least we have used Spring Redis to do our cache
Hmm.
implementation. As I said, right, Spring Boot Cloud has a lot of things within it. We've used circuit breaker within that also, and as I said, Spring Cloud
No, no, no,
Stream.
no. I am not asking about the circuit breaker or something.
Okay.
I am asking the dependency. Boot, Spring Boot, starter, or something. This kind of dependency I am asking.
Okay.
Just
So are you asking in the base Spring Boot what are the
dependencies, yes. So whatever you
dependencies?
are putting in Gradle or pom.xml, Maven.
Okay. So if you're just talking about Spring Boot in itself, of course, Spring Core and Spring security and all that will come as part of Spring, including the standard ones that are already part of Spring, like including the uh, logging frameworks and all of that come included. I don't have a sort of by heart of every dependency that is included, but some of the starters that at least I have used is like Spring Web, that
You
also
know, okay, you know Spring Boot, Initializer, and CLI. What is use of?
could you repeat that? Spring Boot, CLI I heard. What was the other thing?
CLI and Initializer.
Initializer. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
So what is use of this? Both. CLI
sure.
just as a command line interface, or Initializer is. So how to use this? So you have used on use of these two.
Yes. So Spring Boot initializer is used to sort of generate a Spring Boot project template. So you can essentially specify what is the the Maven coordinates of the project that you're trying to build, including the Java version and the Spring version that is required for
Hmm.
your project template. You can also specify what are the Spring Boot starter and other dependencies that are required. So once you do that, the initializer generates a sort of project template that has all of these included, and you can start building your project on top of that. So that's what's been initialized is used for.
Okay. So now I am moving. You know the profile annotation?
Profile annotation. Yes, I've heard of it. Yes.
Okay. So you know about conditional on missing class annotation,
Yes.
at the
So
rate conditional annotation
yes.
in Spring Boot. Yeah, please tell me.
So it's an annotation that you can use where you specify condition. Let's say you want to create a bean only when a specific uh, condition is fulfilled, or if there's already a specific bean that exists in your application context, only then you want to create drive the creation of one more bean. So something like that you can specify on the bean definition, and that rule will get applied when the application uh, context is being created.
Okay. Okay. So you know much aware about the database
Yeah. So for the last 3 years, I've primarily been working on NoSQL DB, but prior to that, yes, I have worked on
JPA, right?
JP as well. I have worked.
So why we are using JPA instead of JDBC template or any data source related communications? Data source, you know, that through the data source we can connect the data or something. So why? What is the main objective of JPA?
Right. So JPA is essentially the Java persistence API. It is a specification for being able to do something called ORM, object relational mapping. With that, you can set up mappings between your Java objects and relational tables, and even you can even define the relationships between those objects as they are mapped in the tables, and you can use the API itself to do any sort of interactions, to fetch any data, to save any data. In the background, the underlying SQL queries are created in an optimized way, and they are executed via the framework instead of the developer having to create queries, static queries or dynamic queries for each and every uh, use case.
Okay, so how do you use Splunk?
Um,
Yeah, Splunk. I think you have mentioned in your profile Splunk. Splunk.
are you able to hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So Splunk is essentially what we are using it as our enterprise logging framework. So the way it works is our applications were deployed on private cloud. So the application logging is being done to the console, and in the container there is a forwarder or a indexer that index that's I mean sort of puts the log out onto the cloud environment, and on the environment there is a Splunk forwarder that is installed. So that ingests all of the logs that are being produced in that cloud environment and forwards it to the enterprise Splunk instance. It gets indexed there, and you can sort of search through those logs in the enterprise Splunk instance.
So what is difference between SQL and NoSQL?
Okay. So SQL is basically structured query language, the language that was used for RDBMSs. They are relational database management systems. So they are defined by having uh, tables, and there are relationships between them. But and they are very strict schemas that are defined for how the data will be stored, and they are stored in rows and columns. From a NoSQL standpoint, it just means that there is, sort of. unstructured data or limited structure to the data. So, for example, it could be a JSON in the way which is being stored, or it could be a document, or it could be a stream. There is no specific set schema as such for NoSQL databases, and they are more efficient in terms of being able to fetch uh, data by keys, and from a distributed standpoint, it can sort of allow better data.
Okay, okay. So now I have a last question to you. Here have a one program because this is the mandatory for
Hmm.
the all candidates. Write a program to find the duplicate characters in list of string. Only Java stream will be accepted. If you write through Java stream, so you can write through Java stream. If you want to traditionally write, so you can write the traditionally. So I can remove here. Just one.
Okay.
You see the question.
Yes, I can see.
So you are comfortable with Java Stream API?
Yes.
Okay, so please write this program. This is the last question to you.
Okay. So find